Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. St. Lucia looks to the region to sell its bananas. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 8th November 2022. Details when we return.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Before we delve into the St. Lucia story, let us take a little peek into some developing news out of Dominica, where Prime Minister Roosevelt's CRT has called a snap election for December 6, 2022. Parliament has been dissolved with immediate effect, with nomination day being the 18th November. In an address to the nation on Sunday, CRT said Dominica needs a national reset if we were to fully recover from COVID and put this country back on a trajectory of real and sustainable development over the next 10 to 15 years. He stated that he intends to remain in office as Prime Minister until April 2025 and does not intend to go beyond that date. Meanwhile, CRT said he would like, however, to preside over a peaceful and dignified transition of prime ministerial leadership to someone of his party and his colleagues' choosing. This comes just over 1 month after leader of the opposition Lennox Linton resigned from his position. The United Workers' Party currently has an interim leader. And now to our main story. The St. Lucia government is targeting the regional market for banana exports after the high cost of shipping for fruit to the UK forced a suspension of exports to that country. Don Nicholas of the DBS News World reports.
Agriculture Minister Alfred Prosper informed of a decision to suspend banana exports to the UK effective last week due to economic implications. The high cost of shipping and fuel, along with associated expenses, has rendered the business unviable. Currently, it is costing the government over $20,000 to ship just one container of bananas or 1,000 boxes to the UK. Prima, the ripening facility in England, has been subsidizing this cost by $12,000, causing the company to operate at a loss.
We now realize that it is not economically viable for Prima, for NFTU, for the farmers.
Besides this, stakeholders are grappling with quality issues, some of which are beyond their control. For example, it takes 28 days between harvesting and getting the fruit on supermarket shelves in Britain. By that time, the quality of the product is compromised. To make up for the loss of business with the UK, the government has signed a contract with Massey Trinidad to accept the fruit. There, it would take a maximum of 7 days to arrive. Additionally, government is sourcing another market in St. Thomas, providing a glimmer of hope for banana farmers.
I just wanted to mention that we are doing very well in the region. We are now in negotiations with a businessman in St. Thomas to purchase 1,000 boxes of our bananas as well. And as I said, we are looking at weekly, we are still in discussion in terms of how soon it can start.
Banana exports to the UK will remain suspended until shipping and other attached expenses go down. To increase banana revenue, the Ministry of Agriculture is looking to expand the regional market to include other Caribbean countries. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
A man with license to hold 5 guns kills wife and kills himself in Trinidad and Tobago. More in this report.
Police in Trinidad are at the scene of a murder and suicide in San Fernando this morning. A man shot his estranged wife, then turned the firearm on himself and took his life outside her family home at Drayton Street. Keisha Bostic was leaving her home at around 6:30 a.m. for work when she was confronted by Shamsar Mohammed, who blocked her vehicle, pointed a firearm at her and fired several shots. The estranged husband shot himself, fell and died in front of the house. Relatives in the house took Bostic to the San Fernando General Hospital, where she died while undergoing treatment. The incident occurred approximately 30 meters away from the Anstey Memorial Girls School. The student support services are at the school counseling students. Reports stated that Mohammed of Reese Road, Barakpur, was a licensed firearms holder with a permit to possession of 4 handguns and 1 shotgun. This according to a senior officer on the scene of the killing suicide. Mohammed and Bostic were married in March but separated recently.
In Haiti, access to the fuel storage depot in Port-au-Prince is apparently cleared by the police. Tiana Cole of HGP Nightly Regional News reports.
Haitian police have taken control of a fuel terminal that had been blockaded by armed gangs in September, ending a standoff that had triggered a humanitarian crisis and talks of foreign military intervention. A gang coalition known as G9 blocked the entrance of the Varax terminal in September, leaving the country without gasoline and diesel, and forcing businesses and hospitals to shut their doors as a cholera epidemic broke out. Drone images of the entrance of the terminal appear to show that the access was clear. A prior statement attributed to the government of the Prime Minister Ariel Henry had said that the fuel would be available on Monday. A diplomatic source said he was told by the government that the statement was not put out by Henry's office. A government spokesman declined to confirm or deny the veracity of the statement. It was reported that the police launched a major operation to confront the gangs that resulted in heavy shooting. Police did not respond to a request for comment. Tiana Cole.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Crime continues to plague Clarendon as 10 people were shot and killed in different communities over the 12-hour period on Tuesday. Superintendent of the Clarendon Police Division in Jamaica, Carlos Russell, says a number of security operations has been rolled out to curb crime. Nicola Brown of CVM News reports.
There is growing tension and fear in the parish of Clarendon as the murder figure continues to climb. At least 10 people were killed in a 24-hour period recently, which has sparked massive concern and a call for immediate action. Superintendent of the Clarendon Police Division, Carlos Russell, says a number of security operations have been rolled out as part of the crime-fighting strategy.
We are doing some work. We are now operating, and the operation relentless, and we are targeting some of our known violence producers as also the wanted persons in the parish. So there have been a lot of operations that have been rolling out in the Clarendon Division, and we believe that in short order things will be brought under control.
Speaking at a recent walkthrough in Tollgate, Clarendon, Superintendent Russell calls on the community to help in ridding the parish of the scourge.
Just work with the local police. We cannot achieve anything without the help of the citizens. And they are the persons in the community that know what is happening. And we are saying that just call us when you see things happening. And even domestic issues, from you see persons involved in conflicts, domestic conflicts, just call the police. Because some of these matters start from there. If it's strange persons in your community, call the police.
On Tuesday, 10 people were shot and killed in separate incidents in the parish within 12 hours. Superintendent Russell says while investigations are ongoing, persons should be reassured that the perpetrators involved will be held accountable. Nicola Brown, CBN Live.
Minister of Energy and Energy Industries in Trinidad and Tobago, Stuart Young, has described the preliminary gross revenue generated by Heritage Petroleum as one of the successes of the restructuring of Petrotrin. More in this TTT News item.
According to the company's accounts, Heritage has paid $4.8 billion in taxes to the government. Speaking to TTT News on Sunday, the Energy Minister said Heritage has always turned a profit, but admitted that higher oil prices have helped.
Fortunately, it has resulted in a lot of benefit to us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You've seen billions of dollars paid in taxes, royalties, SCT, etc., as well as Heritage being able to cover the financing costs, which were previous bonds that were refinanced. So we're seeing some success with Heritage.
Heritage Petroleum was formed as the exploration and production company for this country's oil production. Minister Young said he is meeting with the board and management at Heritage this week to discuss ways in which they can advance oil production given high oil prices globally.
What you've seen there with the increase in the wells and in the drilling is a result of us trying to find ways to increase production. As I say, I am still pushing them because I believe if we gave lease operators, farm out operations, other small firms that are in the oil sector the opportunities to work with Heritage and to work the field, we will be able to produce more. So that's been an area of focus for me.
Preliminary results indicate Heritage generated gross revenue of $10.2 billion with an after-tax profit of $1.4 billion.
The economy is heavily dependent on the climate, and small island developing states are most vulnerable to climate change. The consensus as the University of the West Indies closes its annual economics conference, signaling that much effort is needed to rein in climate change. Urvashitawari Rupnarayan of TV6 News has that report.
The University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus today closed its 2022 conference on the economy, where the focus was climate change and disaster management. The world is aiming to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. In Trinidad and Tobago, it can start with policy and with government taking the lead.
The new HDC housing developments and the new hotel that we've heard about in the media that is being built at the airport, are these going to be built with or without solar panels? And I think there is an opportunity for us to breathe life into the national conversation on renewable energy. Here is an opportunity for us to actually put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, and to actually use these new developments to showcase renewable energy.
This will, of course, require a feed-in tariff, but Dr. At says this may give government the push it needs to making this a reality. But something needs to be done as lower-income countries are more vulnerable to climate change.
No matter how big and bad our economy is going to be, and bad, if I'm playing that word bad, we still are at the mercy of our environment. And we have been forced to accept the truth that without the environment, there will be no economy. So we have to deal with coastal erosion, for example, which has been claiming coastal lands and infrastructure. We have to deal with rise in sea levels and temperatures, and we're seeing our coastal regions inundated with sargassum seaweed. Our tourism industries are being affected by coral bleaching, and our tourism product itself, for the majority of the Caribbean region, is now being compromised.
And how does a country like Trinidad and Tobago, carbon intensive as it is, balance its economic needs with the need to rein in its climate policy?
High metal, but we also have one of the lowest cost of energy in the region as well, which is the reason why we consume so much energy from fossil fuels. And to combat, I think the market is going to determine where we go. With prices, our prices here remain low against our energy costs. When we introduce that, and as we rise, we will find two things happening: moving to more efficient technologies, as well as hopefully moving to renewable sources of energy.
A joint report by the International Energy Agency, the World Bank, and the World Economic Forum says there's a need for an increase in clean energy investment in developing and emerging economies to move from about $150 billion in 2020 to more than $1 trillion by 2030. That is, if the world will be on track to reaching its net zero emissions by 2050. Urvashitawari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
Hubbard is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.